being recorded from now on. So I do have Kegan there. Okay, let me admit it to our show. Hello, Kegan. Welcome to the Eric and Liz show.
Hi, Kegan.
Hi, how's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Just to introduce Kegan, Kegan is the CEO and brewer of Setting Sun Sake Brewing Co. in San Diego.
Yes.
Hey.
And this is Chloe. She's a lifestyle coach out of Atlanta, Georgia. And
Hello.
she just launched her first magazine.
Good to see you. Kegan,
Yes.
is Josh going to come on board too?
Yes, he is. He'll be in a few, like 3-4 minutes.
Okay.
3-4 minutes. Okay. Oh well. Hey, his loss.
Yes. Most,
So, please, Kegan, tell me your story.
well, I joined Setting Sun Sake pursuit, if you will, 5 years ago now. It's crazy. It's been 5 years already, but I studied biological sciences in college and was going to do pre-med or physical therapy and get my doctorate. So I was taking a year off, and I was helping the two founders, one being Josh, he'll be on here soon, start Setting Sun Sake in this pursuit of something. And from there, we've just figured it out and used Josh's brewing intuition and figured out the market and how people respond to the product and flavoring, the flavors people like, the image people like. And we opened 3.5 years ago to the public. So it's been a while for that. And we slowly opened up distribution outside of our tasting room. We have a tasting room right next to our brewery. And throughout Southern California right now, and then we ship all across the nation. And we have some contract kind of white label things going on that we're helping people's ideas for sake come to life, which is really exciting. Since we're 1 in 11 US owned sake breweries, there's not many to contact to make product for you. So we're in this place where it's very difficult to start a sake brewery just because of the regulations and how new it is, but the idea is so new. People love the idea and fall in love with it and contact us to produce for them. So got a lot of those kinds of things going on, along with all the weird ideas Josh has, his artistic side coming to life, and even more obscure sake flavors and styles that we already do. He comes up with an example of like hop sake or barrel-aged sake. We make Yenque sour sakes, and so those are just a few of the things we do, and dive into sake that those kinds of styles are actually illegal in Japan. So a lot of brewers come from Japan because they have freedom in the US to do things to sake that they don't in Japan, as well as there is a monopoly against production licenses for sake. You have to make something along the lines of 60,000 barrels a year to even open a brewery, which is extremely difficult for a small brewery, just starting, independent brewery starting up. So a lot of people are moving to the US to do that in Europe. And so we're kind of seeing the rise in that. So it's been a blessing, a lot of hard work, but a blessing too.
Wow.
So who came up with the idea?
Josh. So Josh was in the beer industry, the craft beer industry, for like 9-10 years. And he worked at breweries around the world at every level of the brewery, so he just knows the inner function. He's helped build breweries before, and he loves fermentation, and he likes playing with the idea and challenging himself. And so he was inspired by different sakes, but he was kind of tweaking with the beer recipe and the techniques used in beer. And a lot of the techniques he fell upon are ones used in sake. And so he just concluded, I guess I'm doing sake now. And he found out it's really hard. And did it time until we learned and uses brewing knowledge to expand upon it, which none of us read Japanese or speak it, so it was near impossible to translate any already written down text to explain the process. So really it was trial and error and using his brewing intuition that helped him build the base recipe that we use. That is we call our Ronin Clear and Ronin Cloudy are two of the more traditional styles that we do, but of course with the American and West Coast flair and flavors in it that are just more forward and bolder.
I mean, it's pretty amazing. You know, I would never have thought that there will be a market actually for American, sake. But that said, again, about 20 years ago, nobody gave craft beer a chance, and then Karl Strauss started it, and a lot of his disciples, I might say, then started beer breweries, and now we have like over 120 craft beer breweries in San Diego.
Right, yeah. And we're seeing the kind of the same reactions in not only the people in the sake industry. I'm sure that the beer industry had it. It was a bunch of traditionalists that are like, been getting the same reaction for probably 4 years, 5 years now. But since it's so traditional, it's been done. We have also gained a lot of new people who wouldn't have experienced sake in the first place, that are getting sake and what it's all about and trying it, and a little bit better of a segue into that, into trying more traditional styles even. So it's been benefiting, like craft beer, it's been benefiting the traditional sakes as well.
That's good. Well, for our viewers, I just muted Josh because he's doing something that he shouldn't be doing. So till he figures out what he is doing, we will just let him figure it out, and then I guess I'm going to unmute him.
Okay, he's hard at work.
Yeah, I can tell.
I have a question.
Sure.
How do you come up with the different flavors? What goes into coming up with the different flavors of the sake?
Well, it's collaborative. It's Josh, me, and then Chef Kim, and we all have ideas that we want to pursue and think that either fits the model of reaching the new sake enthusiast, or just a very artsy piece that all the craft consumers would like. So it kind of bounces around, and we all have ideas and play with it. And we tasting room as kind of the R&D, research and development kind of hub, where people can come in and try it. People can come and do flights of everything we're doing, plus all the special releases and R&D flavors. And we kind of learn what people like and respond to more. For the flavoring part of it, it's process, and it's a little bit more science-based, and it just out of tasting things over and over and making sure that the quantities, and we do the exact same process to get the exact same flavor that we like that's coming out of it, and what we can do to tweak it and not to use too much of an ingredient, so it's cost effective to the customer. So it's a lot of note taking and process, and all of us trying it over and over because you got to develop, you know, the sensing, the taste you're tasting.
Wow.
Kegan, let me just do a screen sharing. You know, I just want to actually show you where do we? Oh, great. Here we go.
Oh,
all right, there you go.
So you see, I put your tasting room on there because it's pretty interesting what you're doing.
Thank you.
You know, like here I see we have like a Ronin Clear, so with a 14% alcohol. Just let me know, how would you describe that?
Well, the Ronin Clear would be our Junmai Ginjo, and Junmai being translating to pure rice, and that just means we don't fortify it with brews. It's just a brewing process that is used. But when it is Junmai, you have more natural flavors. It's smoother, and then Ginjo being straight up rice.
Yeah, you're also having sake cocktails. I think Josh had enough, so he unmuted himself.
I want to be available to answer, but you know,
It's good. It's actually, yeah, I don't know if I shall call it the sexy look, looking down from the bottom up, but you know, it's your choice.
The exclusive view, gosh.
Oh, great. Now he unmuted, and there he is again.
Oh, there he is.
He just wanted to give us a scare.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, how are you? Welcome to the Eric and Liz show.
well,
Hi, Josh.
hello. I unmuted myself because I wanted to chime in on where do some of the flavors come from.
Okay.
Sometimes we're looking to create something more traditional and Japanese inspired, and we look to sake brewing techniques for that. But for some of our stuff, we look to beer brewing or winemaking practices to create hybrids, like our Framboise, which was a Chardonnay barrel-aged sake that was fruited with raspberries to emulate Framboise beer. Or we have a whiskey barrel-aged with coffee and chocolate sake that we wanted to emulate.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That is fine. So actually, you know, I'm going to go back to screen sharing, and you have a very interesting mural at your tasting room.
The Ronin.
There we go. And I feel, you know, it's pretty interesting. This is where their tasting room actually is. And hey, this is a huge mural. Tell us about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so it's done by a street artist named Mike Maxwell. He's done street art all over San Diego, and he specializes in one of the things he specializes in is these murals. And the Ronin, being the master of samurai, is our main line of traditional sakes that we do, the Ronin Clear and Cloudy. And it's because we do things to the process that kind of cross-pollinate our West Coast brewing style for beers and anything fermented with traditional Japanese styles. So we're expanding beyond the limits of the craft of sake at this point. So we thought the Ronin was a good mascot. And so we have a big Ronin on the wall in our tasting room with our logo. And it
Wow.
goes this new tasting room, man, it's almost been 2 years now. And it's because we have the space next to this space as our brewery, but it used to also be our tasting room. And so we got the opportunity to get this other one and build it out to be extra special for someone to come and experience
that's nice.
something they've never had before, most likely.
I have a question for one of the young men, if you may I?
Okay.
Of course you may.
Okay, so now what is your typical lady like who drinks sake, and what is her favorite flavor?
Good question. So
Good.
I can tell you that there is a range of types of people that come and drink sake, as long as they are of drinking age, of course. But most women would like our light fruity ones. I would say the number one seller for men and women, it's just one of our number one sellers, are our low alcohol fruited sparkling sakes. And there are reasons for this, or there's examples of this already in sake. There's Mio, and I believe that's Gekikan. It's either Gekikan or Shuchikubai, but it's one of the number one selling sakes in the world right now, and it's a light, a low ABV light sparkling sake. It tastes like Sprite.
Oh, sparkling.
So it's the easiest to like. It's a little bit like wine, and the one we do that people like is our pomegranate, hibiscus, and matcha green tea.
Oh wow. Good.
And so so I'm starting this whole new thing, and I want to get something really sexy.
Yeah.
Now, would that be considered a sexy cocktail or a sexy drink?
This would
Yes.
be
Yes.
Okay.
And yes again.
Yeah. But I think it gets sexier. So we have, as one of the ones Josh mentioned while he was on, and it's a Chardonnay barrel aged with raspberry sour. So it's
Oh wow.
it's like raspberry candy, and it's a little bit higher alcohol.
Kind
I
of
say
tart.
here, and that's the oaky white grape to it that finishes quite nicely. So I would say the PhD, there are a few sexy ones, but the Framboise, I think, takes the lead on that for its exotic, and it's nice and fruity. And yeah.
Kegan, just for our, San Diego County viewers and listeners, where can they find you?
So you can find us. We are located in Miramar, in San Diego.
Okay.
We have our website is settingsunsake.com, and we do deliveries in San Diego and then shipping to 39 states. Right now throughout Southern California, the places that we are open, you can also find on our website, although some stores may not be open right now. And then you can also follow us on our social media on Instagram at Setting Sun Sake, and then and on Facebook.
Good, thank you. I by the way, Josh, that nearly works if they wouldn't be for the seatbelt. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being available for us. And I'm going to repost all your information, on Facebook and also on LinkedIn. And then I'm going to send you, we're going to upload everything on YouTube too. I mean, right now, people can see us on Facebook with a 20-second delay, but everything's going to be uploaded. You're getting the link, and
great.
Go ahead and use it.
Great. Thank you. We appreciate it. It's nice to meet everyone.
Nice to meet you too, Kegan and Josh. Wishing you guys the best.
Yeah, and if you want to hang on, just stay within the show. If you have questions, you can. Chloe is going to come on in a couple of minutes because I have to do something very self-serving here.
Okay.
Every show, I'm going to do the wine tip of the week. This time, we are having Sauvignon Blanc from Marlborough, from the Ellen Scott Winery. Very nice, very fruity, great finish. So, guys, I drink to you.
All right.
Cheers.
Josh, don't drink and drive. Talk and drive so bad enough.
I'm going to try that wine you've recommended because I've been really enjoying the Sauvignon Blancs from, is it Marlborough?
Yeah, Marlborough.
Yes.
Marlborough in New Zealand. Yeah.
Yes, my daughter turned me on to those.
All right.
That's so cool. Then you're going to like the next feature I'm going to show you, and I'm going to go back to share my screen. And actually, next week we're going to have the director of national accounts from Winebow there, and they sell actually, well, wines to wine.com, and this is where you can actually find the wine. So if you go and you type in Alan Scott, Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc comes up, you click on it, and it comes up, tells you what it's on right now. It happened to be on promotion, you know, 17 down to $13.99. And then you can see what the winemaker knows are the acclaims, and it scored actually very well on Wine Spectator. And you can just order it.
Cool.
Which is great.
Cool.
You know, especially.
So they'll ship it right to my door?
Yeah, right to your door.
Wow. All right.
I'll drink to that.
I know. Yeah, me too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Hold on, I just go back and, okay. Please, Liz, introduce Chloe.
All right. So we also have here today Chloe Taylor Brown. She is executive life coach, lifestyle strategist, and she is a 4-time author, and recently came out with a beautiful magazine called Flourish. And we are excited to have you join us today, Chloe. So I want to ask you a little bit about, I know you are, a professional model as well. So how did you come up with this idea for the magazine? Give us a little bit of your story, your backstory.
Okay. Well, so the magazine, first of all, it was something that I was not thinking about doing. It came to my mind in January. It felt pretty good. In February, it started to feel better, just came back. And I think that's when you were one of the first individuals and companies that I called to be in the magazine. And when you said yes, the rest was history.
All right.
So I felt that this time, Liz, that based on that prompting, that download that I got, that I can do this. I pulled upon everything that I've ever done, from being a girl growing up in Mississippi, sitting with my grandmother, watching her make her fabrics and her turn them into fashions, and being 5'11" since I was 13. I was always making my own clothes. And so it was a natural thing that the first thing that I really wanted to be, that I knew, was a model. And that was about 13, 14. And then I started saying it out loud about 15. And then I went to Mississippi State University. I'm from Mississippi, and majored in fashion. And that didn't get me to San Francisco or Milan, where I ended up. But in my mind, it was getting me there. And so I realized that whatever we hold in our mind, it really starts to work for us. So I did become a model in San Francisco, and I ended up in Milan, and I worked all over Europe and wanted to have all these children and do I wanted to have everything. You know how we do it, Liz.
Yes.
And sometimes you just have to take a break. So I did. I hung up my shoes. As a matter of fact, when I first met you over 30 years ago, I've got you beat on that, Eric. When I first met Liz, when I first met Liz 30 years ago, I thought I was going to be going back and forth to Europe, but it was just too much to run a business and have children and be married and have an international career. So I slowed down on that international part and just started working locally. But I also had a dream to start a business. And I've been doing this, my coaching, which incorporates everything I've just told you about, from corporate coaching, the mindset, the fashion, the outer person. And it just kind of clicked for me. So I basically put everything that I loved into a packet and created it for myself authentically.
Right. And tell us a little bit about your coaching abilities. I know that you coach women and different corporations, and you also mentor young girls. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you. So I became a coach a little bit by default. One of my children died. My youngest at the time was almost 4, and he fell in our pool and did not survive. And after that, I lost all of my energy, my excellence, my desires. And so that is depression. It's a loss of game. That's what depression is, end of game. So a lot of people are having end of game paradigms right now. So after about 2 years of wallowing in depression, I wanted to feel better. I wanted my laughter back. And I had been going to to counseling and therapy, and that worked to get me to be average again. And I knew I was bigger than average, so I just kept searching, and I was introduced to a coach, and it just changed my whole life. It got me back up on top again. And when my coach saw that I was able to take those strategies and processes, basically, they were more than encouraging. They said that if I was so good at this, if I didn't share it, I would be one of the most selfish women they'd ever met. And I didn't want to be selfish. So I tried it, and I really liked it because of the results. I was feeling good about it, and my clients, I saw them achieving, using those strategies and achieving their goals, from high-level executives in corporate America to college students, athletes, and even middle school girls, from the workbook that I wrote, because it was based on those same strategies. It was written for girls. And so that's what I did, Liz. I just put everything together. I took lots of classes. I went back to school. I did everything to develop myself. But it wasn't hard. It was because I loved it. It was me becoming who I wanted to become.
So Chloe,
yes.
How many years ago did that life-changing event happen?
My son, I have 4 children, and Justin was the youngest at the time, the 3rd child. This was years ago in 96. He fell in the pool in 96. And it was around 98 that I knew that I needed to do something, because I have the kind of laughter that fills up a whole room, and it draws people to me. They want to know, who is this country girl laughing this loud? But that was gone. And so I just wanted my laughter back. And when I started to get my laughter back, my life started to come back. And yeah.
Right, exactly.
No, that is, pretty hard.
Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
It was a very tragic thing. It was just over, you can't explain it.
Right.
But now, because I've done the work, I am really good. I am very well with my soul. I'm very happy and optimistic. I'm just really in a wonderful place, but it took a lot of work. It wasn't something that I could take a pill for.
Right. You have to do the work.
Yes.
Smile and laughter back. And just let me, share the screen and get you on your website.
Right.
It's Life Up with Chloe. And tell us a little bit how people can navigate through it.
Well, most people that go to Life Up with Chloe, they're interested. They may meet me at an event or online or on social media, and they would go there for inspiration. And many of them don't know they want coaching, but when they hear testimonials and they hear my voice or read my books, then they will come call me for a session. I have a proprietary tool called the Personal Excellence Profile, the PEP. And that is a game changer because it shows you who you are based on your thoughts and your viewpoints. And it shows you how to change them to get into alignment with your goals and your vision. You see, because it's all about energy. And so if I wanted to become that international model when I was at Mississippi State University, I couldn't just get there from there. I had to become that. I had to start to calibrate and be in alignment with what an international model was. I was not that when I was in college, but I truly thought I was. And so thinking helps you too. When you think a certain thing, it really does matter, but you have to get your skills and I was thinking as big as I could at my university. But when I got to San Francisco, I knew how I had to develop myself. I need to become more sophisticated. I need to become more confident. I need to know how to be a woman, not a college student. So, if you're going, a lot of people who are shifting and pivoting now, they need to know how to now start to calibrate to who they want to become now and not who they were.
Right.
Yeah. And Chloe, you're also, you read, you've been writing books, and I'm just showing some of them. Is there anything you would like, to comment on that?
Well, right now, the book that's in the center called Determine Your Ideal, that was actually my blueprint, my plan that I wrote of how I was going to reinvent my life. When I created that plan of who I wanted to become based on what I love and my skills and talent, I realized that I needed some more knowledge, and I went back to college. So that this workbook really opens you up to who you want to become now. And so because I have this book and I have some audios, I wanted to do something for people at no cost during this challenging time. So I'm doing a free 12-week course that started 3 weeks ago to help people to pivot and to shift after and during COVID-19.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So could you tell us just a little bit more about the programs and and how it's going right now?
The program is really wonderful. There are about 20 to 22 people that show up for the last 3 weeks. And they have the workbook, they have the audios. It is a self-help work on yourself, but I show up with them for 30 minutes on Monday to be a champion for them, to check on them, to encourage them, to inspire them, and they do the work. And so they're on the probably 4th chapter now, but when we get to halfway through the book is when things really start to transform and change. They're really going to self-actualize. And if they do the work, because you got to do the work. And if you're authentic, Liz, the work is wonderful. If you're working on a book that you're going to create this new fabulous design with your angel wing sleeves, and you're right.
You remembered.
Of course.
Yes, exactly. So when does that start again, the course?
The course already started. It's a 12-week course. We just completed the 3rd week.
Okay.
Because I'm recording all of our sessions, you get the workbook at no cost. You get everything is at no cost, even my 30 minutes for the week.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
thank you. So I'm recording the sessions, so you have everything you need. If you have to miss a week, even if you've missed all 3 weeks, you can still join us because you're going to get everything everyone else has.
Wow, that's really good, because something like that is needed right now. You know, yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
So Eric, do you have any questions for Chloe?
Well, I heard that Chloe is working on a digital magazine.
Yes.
Yes, it is so fun. Okay, I'm all about fun. I show up in the spirit of play. I don't believe in being serious as a way of life. There are serious things that come at us, but when we are being playful and energetic and optimistic, life goes better. And so with this magazine, it has been a true joy. And you know, you have to put in the time, but it's a playing time for me. It's kind of like getting my favorite coloring book when I was a child and just coloring for hours. I love it. And to my surprise, so many people love the book, the magazine. And of course, Lizz Fashion, she has the 4-page spread in the magazine, and everyone loves it.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. Well, we've got someone who has been waiting for us, who is going to come on the screen now. Actually, I will do a screen share first, because there's one thing he is mainly known for. And eventually I always find it. Here we go.
Of course you will.
This is always, you know, this is what Jose is really, you know, known for. You know, it's his acting. And, you know, usually, of course, we would speak about that, and maybe we touch on it a little later, but what's way more important, Jose has a big heart, and he's also a philanthropist, and he has his own charity, Arts for a Better Tomorrow, and that is mainly what we would like to talk about today. So, welcome on board, Jose.
Hi, Jose.
Hey, oh, let me, hey, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm still a little bit like trying to organize myself, because I just finished doing my second Zoom class, you know, that with LA Unified, well, all the schools, they all went on Zoom, and they're all on you know, doing these online classes. And I got to say, it's been a challenge for everyone, and not just the students, but also for us, who all of a sudden have had to turn, you know, curriculums. I mean, how do you turn an acting class into an online acting class? An acting class that's not for actors. I mean, if there were actors that are, you know, studying this, then they're, you know, tuned in, but, you know, trying to keep their attention has been a challenge. But is it possible? Yes. It's possible. So that's why I got my notes. I'm looking in the mirror, because I have. They're the first one to tell you when you have one big, when you got that hair sticking out. They'll wait till the end of the class and they'll say, "Oh, Mister," or they call you Mister. Mister, by the way, and I'm like, "Gee, thank you."
Right.
Jose, would you give us your quick, you know, 2-minute pitch just about, you know, where you came from and where you're going?
Okay. Where I came from, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I think so. I was raised in Brooklyn. I discovered, you know, my passion for acting. I discovered it. It wasn't an accident. It was when I was 14 years old. My mom actually did the initiative. She put me into an acting workshop, and the reason for putting me into an acting workshop, we had just moved into Manhattan, was because at that point I was pretty lost. I weighed 230 pounds at 14. I started, and yeah, it was really an intense beginning of that adolescence. And so everything was just not going my way. And so she put me in this workshop where I actually discovered how to not only express myself, but also to bring down that protective barrier that I had put up around me. And when that came down, I started to live life. So my life started at 14. So, you know, I moved to, you know, started doing plays. I had a career as a dancer as well. I went to Europe playing Bernardo in West Side Story. Then you know, I think it was in the 90s where, you know, I think 96, where I was cast in something in New York that shot in New York, and it also flew me out here, and we shot at Fox Studios for a week. And so that was the first time I got a taste of what California was, that whole Hollywood, you know, thing. I only knew Hollywood from the black and white movies and from, you know, sunglasses and swimming pools is what we, you know, what I thought Hollywood was. But then all of a sudden I was here. 20th Century Fox Studios is it's like going to a big amusement park. You're walking by, you see all this. And so, you know, I started to work here as an actor, and I ended up, you know, going back to New York, packing my stuff, coming back here, and did a couple of big films that landed really big without me knowing, you know, while going into it, that it was they were gonna be big. One of them being Traffic, which is that's my introduction to San Diego, and I've done a lot of TV shows and stuff, the Law and Orders and all that. But I think that I focus on the Traffic always because that introduced me to Mexico. I didn't know anything about Mexico, but just from the movies and from the food. And so got to go to I saw Mexico. I loved the people and the culture and all of that. It was just amazing. And 2 years after Traffic, I go back to with a group of actors, and we visit an orphanage. And visiting that orphanage back in 2002, that changed my life. And everything comes into a complete circle, which is why I ended up creating an acting workshop called Breaking Barriers, because I was inspired by the many years of visiting, many years of watching them grow up, and many years of watching many young people on both sides of the border growing up without those extra tools, the little extra that we need. You know, the self-help that we do for us to be better people and to be able to be comfortable and be able to live in moments and be in the moment and get the most out of life. That's something that, I guess, you know, I never saw that in an acting. I never saw that in high school. I went to public high school. I never saw that. And so that little extra, that's where I decided to put into a form of acting workshops. And then that's what brought me to Arch for Better Tomorrow, which is what I created in 2014. So then, you know, that's I went way over the 2 minutes. I know that, but that's kind of like in a nutshell.
No, that was great, but I think, you know, we've known each other already for a couple of years, and I think it's you know, knowing you is probably it's so different. There's always that cliche of the actor, you know.
I know that cliche very well because that actor there's a little bit of that lives in me, but it's that whole thing of, you know, it's a tough business, as in any business, but it's a really tough one because, and I'm going to share a little something in case you guys, you know, some of the listeners or viewers won't know is, you know, if I was a plumber and I put a contract out and I say, okay, you look, this is what I offer, this is my price, and I've done this big house, and I did all the pipes here, whatever. Then you put in a bid, and then you get it, you don't. Okay, that's with an actor. You go in front of producers, into the audition, and not only do you have to live in a moment in front of these people that are just watching you, right? You have to prep yourself to go in there, and you have to be the best that you can be. What is that? Oh God, you have to, the foundation is that you really have to be comfortable with yourself. And if you're not comfortable with yourself, recognize it and use it, you know, use it. And so that it's all of that. So I figured all of those things that helped me a lot to take, because we go through a lot of rejection. And so when you're rejecting my bid, when I go to the audition, you're rejecting something that I put from here. You know, this is what you know, something that I put my heart into. And so you're rejecting my heart. Oh, okay, then, you know, brush yourself up, pick yourself up, brush it, and then you go to the next. It takes its toll. It does take its toll. So how do you survive that? And how do you keep from, you know, falling into, oh my God, I'm so tired of feeling, you know, let me, that's where people, a lot of actors go into drugs. You know, and I think that's what happened is that, you know, that all of that catches up. So I'm very happy when I get turned down for something. Now I look at it, I'm like, this happened for a reason.
Right.
This little, it's an obstacle, right? Did I want that job? Oh, let me see. I would have gotten some, maybe $150,000 an episode, and I really needed that because I kind of owe my rent or whatever. All that comes into play, and you're like, what keeps you from going into that audition and be like, oh, I really need that job? It's intense. It's really, really intense. But it's something that we chose, you know, as a profession. And it is a profession, please. It is a profession. It's not just something that we do because, you know,
Right.
we're bohemian. No, but it's something that we really do. And it is a profession, and it's a profession that has to be respected like any other. And so I've taken that and I've kind of merged it into this helping kids at that age, at 14, 15, 16, up, to help them. And it's a lot of fun. I tell you, I was on that Zoom with some of my students, and if you don't mind, I'd like to give a real quick, because they asked me.
Please.
They asked me to.
It's very important. You know, it's very, very important, and people have to see that you crossed that border so many times to TJ.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, we say TJ here. You know,
I know.
Tijuana.
It's Tijuana, and you know, I think that people would freak out in which parts of Tijuana you actually go to, you know, where other people would say, oh man, you know, I'm going to get shot.
You know, I think that if I really sat down and really thought about it, I think I probably wouldn't go back, and I'd probably break out in a panic attack and be like, oh my God, you did that. Because I'm working on a documentary we've been shooting for many years, and I'm going through footage, and I'm looking at neighborhoods, and we go way out to the outskirts of Tijuana. Here in LA, we go out to downtown LA, and we work with kids who come from, you know, Compton, South Central, which are the conflicted areas. I go to Highland Park, they're from that area, conflicted areas. And I go to Tijuana, and it gives conflicted area, like it gives that phrase like a whole nother meaning, because we're going to places where the pavement, they haven't began to pave the streets yet. We're going up to areas where, you know, you don't know who lives next door, and it could be somebody from, a family business, right? And so you don't know. And so I just go in and I keep my eye. There's something I had to learn. It took me many years to learn this. Did the business of acting teach me that, and all of the bumps that I've had, you know, as a kid and now? Is, you know, it's like keep your eye on the prize, and really that really keeps you.
That's how you get through.
It keeps you hope. It gives you hope, and you know the hope will get you through. Thinking of and trying to turn a situation to your favor. How can I make this work? Positivity has a big play in this. I have to confess, yesterday I had a hard time feeling positive. I laid in bed. I said, I'm going to lay here, and I meditated. We do meditation with, you know, my life, and I do that now with the kids. And I said, I can, you know, smile all I want, but I'm not feeling it. And I just laid there, and I gave myself one small, tiny thing to feel good about. And then it snowballed. But, you know, I tell everybody, it's not magic for me. You know, I do have my moments where I have difficulties, and I just had it yesterday. And I was like, come on, get up. And then I knew I had 2 Zoom classes today with my 2 students. One is Frida Kahlo Continuation High School. Hello, Frida Kahlo. And the other group of wonderful kids are at Highland Park Continuation High School. Amazing group. I have graduates on both classes who were supposed to have the ceremony, you know, this month and next month. And I thought, I better, you know, I gotta shape up, and I gotta be a good role model. I better get yourself together, Jose. Come on, what's going on? And you know, you put a lot of pressure on yourself. You ever had those days where you're like, you know you're gonna meet up with somebody, you're like, oh, okay, come on, wake up, you know. You know, you can put on the right outfit and I'm like, okay, that's all working, you know, but you know what, in here they can see what's going on in here, and you better, and I just thought, you know what, they know that I'm real, and just want to show them the real Jose, not the, hey, how are you, how's it going? No, it's none of that. And showing them the real thing. And one thing wonderful happened with Highland Park is I had one student from in Tijuana. She lives in a really it's in an intense area. Her name is Belém Ramos. Belém, she's been my student over there since she was 13 years old, and now she's 18, and she's just turned 18. Graduated high school last year. I went to the graduation. She came on the Zoom call with my students from Highland Park, because we have 2 or 3 that are graduating from that particular class, and she came on and, you know, congratulated them, and she talked about, you know, what's going on in Tijuana, and how are the young people there coping with, and what's going on, and you know, it's a different speed over there,
right?
You know, so that's what they talked about. It was beautiful. They talked about that, and I thought, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, man, and of course I forgot to press the record button, but you know, we don't need to record it. It was what it was. It was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Well, you see, you're lucky because I did press the record button. You are on Facebook Live, and we're going to upload it.
Oh, okay. Oh, I should have told some of my students are on in Tijuana. They're on Facebook. Let me message them real quick and tell them to look out.
You can.
Oh, I'll have them watch the replay.
It's okay.
Right, there you go.
The thing is, you know, it's going to be uploaded on YouTube too. So, you know, we're going to send you the link, and so they can see it. I know it's very important for them too.
It is. It's just kind of giving them a recognition, which is their right. Their right, and I think that for people, you know, for students that are living and they're being raised in these conflicted areas, areas that are, you know, more poverty stricken.
Right.
I think that they definitely need to know that they do have the right, and it's just their basic right to just be. And then don't want this to sound corny, not just to be who they are, love and really embrace who they are, but also, you know, be all they can be, you know, which is, you know, see that they can attain anything if they really work hard. And so, and also, once again, it's about the attitude. So I think, you know, trying to think positive. It's about going through those moments where I think one of the big things that we do with the Breaking Barriers acting program that I created was working with thoughts. And we always take it back to how actors, and of course, because we're in high schools and we're working with that demographic, then obviously we go, you know, we name the names of the big celebs, you know, the celebs that we know that are, at least that I know that do mindfulness, you know, and that do the meditation. What do they do when they get anxiety attacks? Oh, do they get yes, he gets an anxiety attack. Yes, she gets an anxiety attack.
Go ahead, Chloe.
Yes.
Okay. So I am feeling compelled and inspired to offer your students my personal excellence assessment. You're talking about mindset and mindfulness. So the assessment is an amazing tool that shows them right now how their thinking and their viewpoints will be creating their life. And also, it doesn't just leave them hanging. It shows them how to shift their thinking and how to do that. So I don't know if I'm getting myself, because you could have thousands of students.
No, you know what? Right now we have 2. So we have 2 high schools, and so we were about to launch at a 3rd school when the pandemic hit, and so the reason I guess right now our target is continuation high schools, because, you know, the students at continuation high schools, I always, you know, even though the system knows that oh, when a student doesn't work in the normal school system, then you send them to continuation high school. And that's your last shot to get you the diploma. So you've got students who have already kind of sort of given up and all that. So, I mean, that's what I target. And that's why Metropolitan would have been the third, but who knows what'll happen this coming. So as of now, we have like 27 in one. We have 47 in another. So it's about 60, 60, 70, goes up and down a lot.
That's cool.
I lost a lot when we were doing the Zoom. And it not a lot, but I did lose a few, and they check back in every now and then. But obviously, when you do Zoom, you're doing the class, and if you don't show up to Zoom, then that means I have to mark you absent, and there's only so many absences you can have. Otherwise, because these kids are getting they're getting credit to get their high school diploma. But
that's awesome.
That would be great. I'm always open. This curriculum that we have is always evolving. It started off as just a basic acting, and then I realized that a lot of the social emotional wellness needed to come into play, because I was taking CBT, cognitive behavior therapy, to manage my anxiety problems that I've had since I was 14 years old, and that's something that I dealt with for many years. Not that many people knew about it, and I still, but now I have the tools for it. And one thing that CBT taught me was that is kind of shifting the way one would look at a situation. You can the thoughts. And I always call it the little voice, but it's really what is it telling you? And you're battling with that. You're not good enough. You're not good enough. Who do you think you are? You're from that neighborhood. Who do you think you are? It's that kind of a thing. And so we started to put some of the elements of cognitive behavior therapy together inside the theater games.
Wow.
And merge them together so that and when we started to do that, then things started happening. They started to grab onto this. And so I'm open. There's so many types of different type of techniques to help one, not just cope, because you really got to cope with what's going on. The opera that's playing in, sometimes like the heavy metal concert that's playing. But then, what works with CBT for some may not, and some other. So I'm, it's Chloe, right?
Yes.
We are open to any type of, collaboration.
But what I'll do, I could get you the link. They can experience it on their own.
Wow.
There's a link that they take the assessment. It comes right back to them. There's some audios with my voice. It's just 30 minutes of 2 different audios that explains the details of that. It's a generic debriefing. And I can see that and look at it if you want me to, but I could also teach you how to evaluate to look at it and see how you have your stars already. If they just have a couple of more little things that they can be certain about themselves and how to use that energy and that excellence. It's really amazing. I use it myself on myself.
See that's what I appreciate when you your product because you're done it yourself.
Yeah, all the time.
That's what happened with the CBT. I had to like experience it myself, and first before I could introduce it to the youngsters, and we have another instructor that's over at Highland Park. We have a few instructors in Tijuana here, but the one in Highland Park, Chris Barber, who's an actor, it's interesting to work with him because I think he has so many different other coping skills that he brought in, and there was just stuff that he learned over the years, and the hard knocks and all that, and some of the kids, they gravitate towards that, and I'm always thinking, I think that a little bit of everything is always definitely going to work. Remember, the goal is for these youngsters to definitely be emotionally healthy and be able to, because the hard knocks are going to continue to happen, because that's life's roller coaster, and they still happen to me, so
all of us.
Exactly.
So what's wonderful is in teaching this, I always tell my instructors in teaching this, your life will change. Allow
absolutely.
it. Because not only do they teach us so much, these youngsters, but I mean, I think you form like this connection and this bond. Even though if they go their way, you go this way, and we grow up and grow older, it's a connection that never really gets lost, and you feel it in here.
Right, forever, absolutely.
Yeah. So it's wonderful. So for me to share with them a website that and any program. Now we're talking about a group that it probably, you know, it's difficult for them to really focus on doing something, maybe on send them a link and have them do it. So maybe via, there's a way where we can give them a portion they do on their own and then check back together. And now maybe we can do this part through Zoom. Let's do it together, right? Or maybe when school lets up and we go back into the school system, which won't be until next year, where this is something where you know, we have all the equipment where we can say, okay, you know what, let's all do this together, or let's have everybody do 1 hour here and then next half hour.
I would be very happy to do that with you.
That's awesome. I really appreciate that, Goya.
Yeah.
I just heard.
And listen, I can guarantee you that you'll have over half, 2/3 of your students will excel. Yes, or more.
Awesome.
Oh well, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. That's always been our goal, is you know, having the students really kind of changing the cycle. And I'm not saying that, and I don't want that the schools, that these two schools were doing bad before I got there, because that's not my place to say that. Being a principal at a continuation high school, you're dealing with kids who are there because they have the attention deficit disorder, because they have anger issues, and you're dealing with that demographic. So when I went into the schools, the graduation rate went up for the students that are in my class. But not everyone can be in the class, and so that is the challenge. So the challenge would be to offer something online where the students in other classes can take, because there's a lot of students in these schools. So you can have the students who won't make it into my class or won't make it into Chris's class, that's the other instructor, then hopefully they can do something so they can reach out to everybody. So this could be something, something that would be like mandatory.
Count me in.
All right. Yeah, for sure. I love it. Thank you.
So glad. Awesome. I'm so glad that we could actually bring you together, Chloe and Jose.
Right, exactly.
And, we are going to make sure that you're going to get, you know, an exchange of address, which is very important. And you know what? The show is coming to an end. And, you know, you know, Chloe, you first.
Who first what? I didn't hear you.
You're first, you know, for any final words or encouragement.
Oh, this has been very inspiring. I felt my energy drop just a tad because I was in the flow of being with the three of you. But I just think this is an amazing platform. I've enjoyed myself. I've enjoyed your guest. And I just feel like this is something that's very inspiring and really needed. So thank you so very much for inviting me to be part of your first show.
Yes.
You're welcome, Chloe. Jose, just one more thing is, you know, where can they find you on the internet? I mean, the actor is easy to find.
Yeah, just find
the Philanthropist.
Well, you know, you can go. I have it's my name, joseyenque.com. But more importantly than joseyenque.com is the website of the organization. It's not, you know, we haven't updated in a minute, but we're getting to it. It's www.artsbt, that's B as in better and T as in tomorrow.org. And there you have information. We're on Vimeo, and so, you know, that's where you can get some more information about the organization. Yeah, and I'd like to say, you know, as I mentioned, we have students that are graduating from Frida Kahlo Continuation High School and Highland Park, and I just want to say, and I know they're going to be watching, and I just had class with you guys earlier today. I'm talking to the students, Sarai, Elliot, Miguel, Jose, Crystal Aguilar, Chris Barber, oh my God, no, Chris Barrera, I'm going to forget names, Alexis, Cervantes. We're working all on that project together. And thank you so much. You guys are doing an amazing job. For those who are going to graduate, congratulations on your graduation. And you guys, you did it.
Yes.
There's so many people proud of you that it's going to make your head spin. You are already an inspiration to all the youngsters out there and to everyone that's watching this, including myself, and everybody there.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Jose. Thank you so much, Chloe. And well, hope to see you all soon. So bye.
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 Bye, Liz.
See you, Chloe.
Okay, bye-bye. Thank you, Liz.
Thank you.
Bye,
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye,
Wishing you the best.
Thanks.
Mhm.